Welcome to The Right Atmosphere, podcast for writers, brought to you by Atmosphere Press, the only publisher that puts rewarding and meaningful author experiences above all else. I'm your host, Hayla Alawi. On this episode, we're going to be talking about picking awards to submit your book to with our guest, Teri M. Brown. Born in Athens, Greece as an Air Force brat, Teri M. Brown now calls the North Carolina coast home. In 2020, she and her husband, Bruce, rode a tandem bicycle across the United States from Astoria, Oregon to Washington, D.C., successfully raising money for Toys for Tots. Teri's debut novel, Sunflowers Beneath the Snow, is a historical fiction set in Ukraine. Her second novel, An Enemy Like Me, is set in World War II, and her third, Daughters of Green Mountain Gap, is a generational story about Appalachian healers. Her short story, The Youngest Lighthouse Keeper, came out in the anthology Feisty Deeds, Historical Fictions of Daring Women. Her latest work, 10 Little Rules for a Double-Butted Adventure, launched in February of this past year, and it's an inspirational look at the life lessons she learned while riding across the United States on said tandem bicycle. You can learn more about Teri and her work at terrymbrown.com. Thank you so much for joining me, Teri.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here today.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I know that you are a very decorated author. And I mean, for all of your books, it's not like there's just one standing out from the crowd. They're clearly all landing great successes. And, from the long list all the way to first place medalist, obviously Sunflowers Beneath the Snow alone has 12 awards to its name, at least that I know of. And that's the fewest awards of any of your books. So, like I said, very decorated. So,
Thank you.
when you release, yeah, of course. When you release these books, how are you picking what awards to submit them to?
So I just want to say that at first, when my very first book came out, Sunflowers Beneath the Snow, I thought awards came and found you. That they would come out of the woodwork looking for good books, and then you would find out you were nominated. That's not the way it works. You actually have to go out and do the work yourself. And there are dozens and dozens and dozens out there. And if you did all of them, you would be thousands of dollars in the hole because it's a lot of, some of them are inexpensive, but some of them can run upwards of two, three, $400 in order to participate. So you really do have to kind of sit down and think about like what's going to work for me. And the first thing that I tell authors to do is look at your budget, whether it's monthly, quarterly, yearly. How much do you want to spend on awards in however you're doing your budget, and then stick to that. And that's going to be just a big help right there because it can get very overwhelming. The next thing is to understand that there are a lot of different award organizations out there. Some of them are like part of a review company. Some of them are part of like an author organization. Some of them run, use the money for charities. And then some of them are just for-profit organizations. And none of them are right or wrong. There's just different categories out there. Sometimes the for-profit ones can feel a little bit scammy because they keep trying to sell you more and more things. In addition to this, hey, we can give you, and I just tell authors, it's fine if you want to be part of one of those. I tend not to go for the extras. I just, I'm here for the award and I don't want your 800 add-ons. But, that's again something that you have to consider for yourself, right? There are lists out there. Um, some of them are even really vetted, like Readsy has a list. The Alliance of Independent Authors has a list. Those lists are really good if you're really concerned about, is this a scam or not, or whatever. You can go and look at those lists. And then you also have to decide, like, what do you want from the contest? Okay, so for instance, are you looking for a low price? Like a low price entrance. I just want to get in an award. Reader's Choice Book Awards cost $25. Okay. Literary Global Book Awards are just $29. So if you're looking for low cost, those are out there. Are you looking for an award that doesn't just have it once a year, but maybe it's quarterly or semi-annually? Bookshelves awards are I think they're quarterly, but there are lots of them that are out there that have those. Are you looking for an award that offers feedback to you afterwards so that you know like where is my book landing and why? Next Generation Indie Book Awards will give you feedback. And so you can look and you can see like where did you score the numbers 1 to 5, and they give you that, and then they give you a little bit of information on that. Are you looking for an award that has just a few categories or has lots of categories? So the Wishing Shelf has just 12 categories. They only had 10. They recently upped it to 12. Reader's Favorites has 150 plus categories. So sometimes if you're looking for like where does my book best fit, it might be better to go into one that has a lot of awards. Sometimes the ones that have a lot of different awards, you're more likely to win something than one that maybe only has a very limited. So you just have to kind of think about all of those things. Um, you might be looking for an award that has like a regional category. For instance, reader views, you can do one that's like authors who were born or not born, but are living in southeastern United States, and so that's just another way to kind of like narrow things down for you. Do you want an award that supports a charity? The Maxi Awards, for instance, they support the Home of the Innocents, which is a nonprofit shelter and pediatric convalescent center. And then the Firebird Book Awards supports a women's shelter. And so there are those that are out there, which are kind of nice because not only you're donating, but that money that you've put in to get in the award is actually a write-off that you can then write off on your taxes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, so it's a nice little extra for you for you. You're doing something good and you may win an award while you're at it. Um,
Right.
are you looking for an award that accepts an ebook copy for review rather than a hard copy? For instance, the National Book Critics Circle. If you want to do that award, it's expensive and it requires 24 hard copies. So when you
Right.
look at 24 hard copies and you look at your author cost of each hard copy and then the cost of mailing those, this is a big expense. And so you have to decide, is that worth it to you? Are you looking for an award that focuses on like one genre? For instance, the Historical Fiction Company Awards focuses solely on historical fiction. Are you looking on that only does one type of publishing? For instance, the Writer's Digest Self-Published Book Awards is for just self-published books, right? Are you looking for an award that only does one format? The Audis are for audiobooks. So you can go and you can look for all of that. And then maybe you're looking for an award that might give you like a monetary prize, and there
Mm.
are a lot of them out there, like the Eric Hoffer Award. You can actually win a prize. There are some, I didn't write down which ones, but there are some that actually offer like book deals and other things. So you have to kind of look and see what what are you really looking for in all of that.
Yeah. So, like, there's all these different factors to weigh. And so, I mean, I'm curious from your perspective, how much you're willing to spend on an award submission, but it sounds like it really just depends. It could
It
really
does.
vary depending on what you're getting out of it.
Right. It depends. Like, what am I looking for at the moment? Like, how much do I have this month? How well did my book sell last quarter? I mean, those things actually make a difference for me in terms of what do I have that I feel that I can spend on awards. Getting the awards, I've not ever noticed like a big bump in sales. I get an award, I don't see this huge bump. But I now get to say that I'm an award-winning author, which looks really good whenever you're doing any of your marketing. And people do start to notice that you've got all of the awards. And I've been reading, and I'm hoping this happens to me, but I've been reading that a lot of people, after winning awards, other other organizations will come forth and want to talk with them about doing more with their book or whatever. So there are other
Oh,
people out
okay.
there, not just your readers, because really your reader doesn't know the difference between a Reader's Choice Award and a Pulitzer. I mean, they honestly have no clue, right? They don't. It's like, oh, it's an award. You have a little sticker. Woohoo. They don't really know. But the people that do know, might be someone who's thinking about turning books into movies, or maybe getting you on a particular, best reads for the summer list in some big magazine that will matter, or those kinds of things. So having those awards is really cool, and it doesn't look bad to have them on your Amazon either, to say that it's a multi-award winning book. It's not bad to have that.
Yeah. So it's almost like even if these you're not submitting to awards specifically because you want to increase sales, they're opening other doors that can be
Right.
leveraged differently and maybe lead to that later down the line.
Absolutely. And I just feel like anything you can do to get your book out there, you and I've talked about that before, where, you have to be able to dance with your book and scream, "Hey, I've got a great book."
Right.
And what better way to say, "Hey, I've got a great book," than to say, "Hey, I've got a great book and it's won these awards."
Yeah. It's
Right?
not
It
just me
doesn't
saying it either.
Right. Yeah, it's not just me. I know I'm saying it, but hey, look, all these people have said it too. It does not hurt anything. And so I really recommend that authors do try to put their book out there for some awards. And if you're concerned about prices and things, pick some of the ones that aren't quite as costly. Maybe ones that aren't quite as big, and get out there and get your name out there and just see what it does. I don't know. And not only that, it's a real charge when you get the email that says, "Hey, you're first place in historical fiction." You're like, "Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting.
it
Is
is."
there any awards that were a particularly exciting win for you?
Yeah, so Daughters of Green Mountain Gap won one, and it was like best indie book of the year.
Oh,
And
wow,
and
yeah.
I was like, "Oh my gosh," because it wasn't just in a category. It
Right.
had won a couple of first place in its historical fiction category, which I'm not downplaying. Those are fantastic. But to be an overall indie winner of the year, oh my gosh, I was in heaven. I was floating around on the clouds. So
Yeah, that's huge. Congratulations. I'm sure
thank you.
there will be many more to follow as well.
But I'm hopeful. That's the goal, right?
Yes, absolutely. Before we say goodbye to our guest, I'm happy to say that this episode is brought to you by Atmosphere Press, the only publisher that puts rewarding and meaningful author experiences above all else. Founded in 2015 by an author and PhD in literature and devoted to serving authors through editorial, design, publication, and promotion, Atmosphere has sold tens of thousands of copies of their authors' books across 6 continents. Visit atmospherepress.com to sign up for Atmosphere's newsletter, The Launchpad, and to learn about submission opportunities, event news, and free book, publicity, and writing residency giveaways. And Teri, where should our listeners go to learn more about your work and these books and what it is that you do?
Yeah, so the best place is my website, which is my name, Teri M. Brown, and that's Terry with one R.com. There you can find all of my social media. Just, click on any of the icons. I have a newsletter that I'd love for you to be part of. I also have a podcast, which is called Online for Authors, where I talk with indie authors about the books that they've written. And so, like, if you're looking for, like, what next book should I read, that's a great thing. And you can buy all my books there as well. And then I just have a contact page. So if you wanted to reach out, I don't have any problem sharing like the list of my I have a big long list of different possible awards, and just reach out. I'll gladly share that with you.
Oh, fantastic. That's so generous. Thank you, Teri.
Yeah.
And thank you, of course, for also being on this episode. Thanks to all the listeners also for tuning in. And I'm excited to see everyone on the next episode. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Right Atmosphere, the Advice for Writers podcast. If you liked what you heard, please leave a review and share this podcast with the writers in your life. And if you're ready to take the next step in your publication journey, visit atmospherepress.com to submit your manuscript for publication consideration or to learn more about writing and what it is that we do. I'm Hala. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.